hello, and welcome to the E-commerce Evolution podcast, where we bring you the best of what's new and what's next in e-commerce. I'm your host, Brett Curry, CEO of OMG Commerce, and our mission with this show is to interview the top merchants, the top marketers, and the experts shaping the e-commerce industry. This episode of the E-commerce Evolution podcast is brought to you by Zipify and their flagship app, Zipify Pages. Zipify Pages is an e-commerce sales funnel and landing page builder that seamlessly integrates into your Shopify store. Just start with one of a growing list of templates and then customize and go. These templates are created by my friend and 8-figure e-commerce store owner, Ezra Firestone. Each template is built with proven conversion elements, but also features a simple drag and drop editor. So you can truly make these pages your own, so you can customize and tweak and test and create some awesome landing pages and sales funnels. So check out all the details, sign up for the beta at zipify.com. Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the E-commerce Evolution podcast, where we talk about what's new and what's next in e-commerce. I'm your host, Brett Curry, and today we are talking with the wildly successful Russell Brunson. For those of you that don't know Russell, I'll give you just a quick intro. He actually started selling information online while he was wrestling at Boise State University. We talk about that a little bit. Sold about $1 million worth of stuff his first year working online. He then went on to found .com Secrets. And for a long time, Russell was speaking at every event imaginable. He was a regular at Dan Kennedy events. He spoke at Tony Robbins events. And he has sold physical products online, information products online. Most recently, he launched ClickFunnels, which is a SaaS platform and funnel builder. We'll get into funnels quite a bit on this call, but ClickFunnels now has 40,000 monthly subscribers, the envy of most SaaS companies, and this was started without any venture capital. It was all backed by Russell and his partners, and it's become wildly successful. Most recently, Russell wrote a book called Expert Secrets. We dive into that book quite a bit because I think there's some real nuggets in there that will help each of you. And so we talk about things like why consider building a movement rather than just selling a product or building a company, why it may make a lot of sense to become an expert, either yourself or whoever's the face of your e-commerce brand. We dig into lots of e-commerce examples. It's a ton of fun. It's very high pace. Have you ever heard Russell speak? Then you know this guy is intense, and he's one of just the best entrepreneurs I've ever been around. So with that, I hope you enjoy my interview with Russell Brunson. My guest today is Mr. Russell Brunson, the man that really needs no introduction, but Russell's a good friend of mine. We go way back. We worked on a project together, back in 2009 or something, and I've stayed in touch ever since. And so we're talking about some amazing stuff today. I can't wait to dive in. But Russell, man, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man. And it's, like I said, we became friends, like 7 or 8, 9 years ago, and it's been just so much fun watching everything you've been doing, and you guys are blowing up, and I love it, and you deserve all your success, man. It's so much fun watching.
Cool. I appreciate that, and likewise. And so, we got several things we want to talk about today. Obviously, your new book, Expert Secrets, which is just crushing it. I want to get into that and talk about some of the marketing lessons in the book, and also maybe how you're promoting it, which is really cool. You're doing huge events now. You got ClickFunnels, which is just exploding. And so I want to dive into all of that. But I think one of the first things that I'd like to do is, if you would, and this can kind of be your own little intro to who is Russell for, like the 2 or 3 people that don't already know who you are. But how did you go from this, this kid, and I love hearing your story, this kid who was kind of into potato guns and stuff, and in college, and you started selling like how to make potato gun stuff, and then now you built that success online into this empire, and now you're doing events. You're friends with Tony Robbins, and he comes to your events. You had Marcus Lemonis speak at one of your recent ClickFunnels events. So walk us through that journey a little bit. How does a guy go from potato gun instructor to where you are now?
Yeah, well, potato guns are amazing, so that's how I'll begin.
They are amazing, super fun.
Oh, they're so much fun. Well, it's interesting because I always wanted to be entrepreneurial, right? Like I was always kind of had that itch, like I think a lot of us do. But I didn't know what or how or any of that. And potato gun just happened to be one of my first tests. Like I had heard some people talking about information marketing and selling things like that. So I went and we created this DVD on potato guns, and and it's interesting that looking back now, because at first it worked, I was so shocked, and then it didn't work. And then like I had to we had to change things. So it's funny, like that was actually my first funnel. Like we were selling DVD and people were buying it, and then it worked really good on Google back when I was doing Google AdWords. And then Google changed their algorithm. They increased their costs and it stopped working. And I had a friend, and he said, you should add upsells to your product. And I had never heard of that or thought of that. And so I started adding upsells to my potato gun DVDs, and suddenly it became profitable again. And I knew that like the potato gun market wasn't like the end all be all, and there wasn't a ton of money in that.
You were going to build a potato gun empire.
Yeah, the empire will be built here in Boise, Idaho. Yeah,
it's so poetic. A guy from Boise sells potato guns, becomes a millionaire. It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like what's interesting is I saw the model and I was like, holy cow! Like everyone else is just selling a book or a DVD or whatever. But I was like, I was able to make this one work because we had these upsells and we actually built this funnel. And I remember Dan Kennedy, who, mutual friend of both of ours, he said, he used to always say, like, whoever can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins.
Yes.
Like after I did this, that's when it made sense, because I was like, because I'm making more money each transaction, I can spend more. And so after that, I started going into the business of building funnels in all sorts of different markets. Like we went in the weight loss market and diet, and then we did supplements, like neuropathy supplements, and we did baby sign language. Like we did a whole bunch of industries, and the model was just the same. It was creating these funnels and we were launching them. And it was so fun. That became like my thing. And then a few years ago, the guys on my team who got tired of me wanting to build a new funnel every week, they were like, because like it's interesting funnels because they're all different, but at the same time they're all like very similar, right? And Todd, I think he was just tired of like building these things for me over and over and over again. He's one of my partners, and he was like, we could build software that would just make this process really easy, because we could just like have you pick, here's our top 10 templates. We always use one of these, pick which one you want, and then plug, And so I was like, if you can actually do that, like it'll change the world. Like, and I was kind of skeptical, and he's like, I think I can do it. So he went and started building it and built what became ClickFunnels. Initially it was just for us, which I think most good products happen that way when you're doing something to scratch your own itch. And as soon as I started, it was funny because we had another partner named Dylan, and so they would build stuff and they'd send it to me like, hey Russell, we want you to try it. And I'm like, well, how does it work? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. Like, if we have to tell you, then this isn't working.
That's great. Yes.
Figure it out. So they'd have me record myself trying to use it. And if I couldn't figure things out, I'd send the video. They'd go back and try to change things around. And the joke was always like, as soon as Russell can use it, then like anybody in the world can use it.
That's brilliant. Like, that's so smart on their part to say, no, we're not going to tell you how to use it. We want to see if you can figure it out, because that's what the customers are going to have to do. They're going to have to figure it out themselves. So
yeah. So as soon as we, as more and more we got into it, I was like, this is going to be huge and people are going to love it. And so about that time we turned this thing, it was kind of an internal tool into this thing called ClickFunnels, and the rest was kind of history. Spent less than 3 years, and went from very few customers to now we have, I think as today it was like 42,000 active members.
How many?
42,000.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
$297 a month.
That's phenomenal. And crazy. You guys have built an amazing following. I know you got a couple of clients that went to your Funnel Hacker Live, and actually Chris, my business partner, his daughter went, and they were all raving about it. Of course, Tony Robbins spoke, and you spoke, and I just heard phenomenal feedback about that event.
Well, it's interesting. As I was building this, I was thinking about it. It's like most people build a company, like a software company, right? It's like software in and of itself is kind of boring. It's like right. We're a website builder. Like how many website builders are out there? It's not that sexy. And as I was kind of building a company, I was studying all these people, and this is actually the premise for the whole Expert Secrets book. But I was studying all these other like movements. In fact, I was at a network marketing event, and the company sells a software product, and not even that a very good one, if we're completely honest. And I'm in this room with like 6,000 other people, and I'm watching, and there's people that flew from around the world to be at this event, and they're talking and they're crying, talking about the product, telling their stories, how they use it. And people come on stage, and it was just like this huge thing. And I remember looking at my friend David Fry was sitting next to me, and David said, "Do you see what they've done right here?" I'm like, "No, what?" He's like, "This is a software company, but they're not selling software. He's like, they built a movement." And when he said that, I was just like, it had this like huge impact on me. And then as we, a few months later, when we started selling ClickFunnels, I was like, I don't want to build a software company. I want to build a movement, but I don't know how to do that. And so it started to study like, well, how have other movements been built? And from all sorts of things, like from religious movements to cults to businesses to political parties, like, and went this deep study about those things. And as I started seeing the patterns that, really successful people and all these different things did, we started trying to take those things back and weave them into just kind of a joke inside of our community called our culture.
Yeah.
Culture. And so we weave all these things in, and it's been insane how that's been this catalyst and this fuel that's helped us to grow is partially, obviously a big part is the product is amazing, but second off, it's like building a community and a culture of people and when we did that, it was like, it became a movement. Like our people, like they don't call themselves the internet market, like they're funnel hackers. Like they all wear our t-shirts and they show events going crazy. And it's like, and so very strategically the last 2.5 years, we've been trying to focus on that. And it's worked really, really good for us. So it's pretty fun.
And it has to start with a good product, and your product is good. We use it. We have a lot of clients who use it. It's solid. So if you don't have that foundation, then everything else is going to be short-lived. Because I think I know that the company you're talking about, the product was not that great, but they did build a movement. But when you have both, when you have a movement and an awesome product, then man, you're set. Well, let me ask you this, because I know this is the premise of the book, and I want to dive into some of the tips and ideas behind the book. But this show is aimed at e-commerce merchants. So for that e-commerce merchant out there that's just saying, yeah, but I really just want to sell stuff. I don't want to build a movement per se. And not to say that everybody has to, but what advice would you give to a person? Why should they consider building a movement rather than just selling products?
And I have a lot of our friends who, in fact, our number one seller inside ClickFunnels right now, he's actually here in an event in the next room over for me. He's the dude who's made the most money in ClickFunnels so far, and he's an e-commerce guy. And, he had just to like perspective, like I don't know how many e-commerce people have done this, but he set up an e-commerce funnel the way we kind of show, and in 6 weeks did $20 million with it. Wow. And it all comes back to like the stuff, like I don't know too many Shopify sellers, things that set up a store, plug something in and make $20 million later. And the reason why is because most businesses are e-commerce businesses especially are very transactional, right? And you are selling a commodity a lot of times where there's a whole bunch of people, they can sell the same thing. Like, I had a friend who launched a fidget spinner store like a month ago, and I know what a fidget spinner was. Now we've got like 800 at my house, and I know of at least 30 people who have fidget spinner stores. And because it's a commodity, right? And what happens when you're a commodity, everyone races to the bottom.
Yes.
And that's like the worst business to be in.
It is.
Again, Dan Kennedy, I love Kennedyisms, but one thing Kennedy said was like, there's no strategic advantage of being the second lowest price leader in town. So you got to be Walmart or come back and be like the most expensive. So I'm looking at the e-commerce businesses I'm associated with that I do work with. It's like, okay, everyone's got similar products or whatever, and we're a commodity or whatever that might be. Like, so how do we wrap these things in something that uncommoditize it and make these things way more valuable? And it's interesting how even people that don't sell on ClickFunnels are selling on Amazon. Like we're taking through this expert secrets process, and they're taking their, I'm not going to share markets, whatever, but let's say fidget spinners, right? So they're taking this fidget spinner everyone else has, but then they go and they create this cool like expert business around it. It's like, hey, here's the 36 top fidget spinner moves you can use to like show off to your friends and your family members. Now there's like this ebook and a video course that goes with the fidget spinner. And obviously those things cost nothing. Someone's had to use some of these ideas from Expert Secrets to create those products and put them in Amazon. Now it's like, okay, fidget spinner, $1.50, $50, $12. Why is this one $12? Well, you get the kit that shows you 36 cool fidget spinner moves. And all of a sudden you're like, dang, I wanted those moves. Yeah. And you uncommoditize yourself, and you can now become a high price leader in anything. And it takes that away. And so that's my biggest thing. Like I always look at it, and again, I have tons of ecom people that work with us, but it's always like, look at the process and use these things to decommoditize yourself and to dramatically raise your prices. And like, those are two things that I love, not being a commodity and having super high prices.
Yeah. So smart. So smart. And it's funny. I had no idea what a fidget spinner is. And for those listening, if you don't know what it is, just Google it or look on Amazon. But we bought like 3 or 4 in the last week because all my kids now are like, hey, we have to have these things. And it's like, parents are rebelling, teachers are rebelling, but kids are loving it. Hot market.
I'm holding a fidget spinner as we speak. I can't not have it in my head now. So like I'm like a little kid. Yeah, mine's a Batman fidget spinner. So like you can hear it spinning, but it's spinning as we're talking.
Yeah. So I love that concept though. And we work with a lot of Amazon sellers, and it is kind of a race to the bottom, and that benefits Amazon. Like Amazon wants you to charge the lowest price possible. They're going to push you to do that. But being the lowest price doesn't necessarily mean you'll sell more if you've got a reason to charge more. So maybe you're you're looking to diversify the product. So it is the Batman spinner. You probably paid more for the Batman spinner than you did just the plain, gold one or whatever. But I love that wrapping the experience and some education and some value to make that product worth more, so you can charge more. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. What are some other secrets from the book that you would say, hey, here's a quick teaser, things that an e-commerce merchant needs to consider? What would you say? So
the other thing I notice with a lot of the e-com people I work with is their business is transactional. Someone comes in, they buy, and then they leave, and it's like, and that's kind of their business. And that's hard, like, because then the hardest part about business is getting a customer. And after you have a customer, then like it's easier. So like, this comes back to building persona with your brand. Like if it's just like a transaction, they buy a product and they leave, like there's no brand loyalty, like there's no loyalty, there's nothing that keeps you coming back. So I'm a big believer in all businesses is like bringing out, in fact, when you read the first section of the book, we talk about this, like how do you build a mass movement? And like one piece of that is having like a charismatic leader or attractive character or somebody who's like the face of this thing that people can connect with. Because that way when somebody comes and they buy your thing, they build a relationship with the person, and that's what keeps them coming back over and over and over again, right? One like kind of cool example of this, if you've ever looked at Dave Asprey, the Bulletproof executive, and he basically
Bulletproof coffee and stuff like that. He's behind that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because like he's a horrible copywriter. From a copywriting standpoint, he's a horrible salesperson. Like, but he's killing it. And it's interesting because somebody comes in and like he starts with like just his origin story. And so his origin story, if you've ever heard, like he was a huge dude his whole life, worked in, he was a computer developer, like couldn't lose weight, like 300 pounds overweight, struggled everything. And then one day he was like hiking in the Himalayan mountains, and he got some. It's like he was tired, and he went and met these people, and they gave him some yak butter tea, and he drank it, and he like felt good, and he had energy, and he was like, why is drinking fat making me feel so good? And then he went home, started studying, and it turns out like fats are good for your brain, and if you don't have carbs with it, you can lose weight. And like, so he started this thing, and he lost all this weight, and he started telling everybody put butter in your coffee, right? Which is so weird. But then but it's an interesting message, and all of a sudden people hear that story, and then they're like, I'm gonna put coffee in, butter in my coffee, and then people start doing it, and they like it, and it started this whole movement. And now he's got this movement of people who listen to him, and from that he's able to have a podcast, he's got a blog, he's all these things, and now he has new products come out all the time. And it's funny is like if you look at it, like because I buy most of them, he's like, hey guys, I have this new supplement, it helps with your brain, and that's it. That's the coffee, and then there's the order button. And I'm like, sweet man, and then I buy it because I have this relationship with him. Like I don't even know what it does or why, but because Dave said it's cool, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to take it because he said it's cool, right? And like I want to always shift my business from like a transactional where someone's coming and going, because I had stuff in the business that we sold a little while ago. And that was my biggest problem is like we got really good at like conversions and the numbers, like all that kind of stuff, and we were selling tons of supplements. People come, they would buy it and they would leave. And they didn't come back because there was no personality. There was nothing that bond them with us. Like we were a commodity, and so when they ran out of the product, they would just go online and look for someone else selling something similar. But I look with Dave, like I buy his stuff because of Dave, like because I connect with him, right? And so like any ecom person, like I feel like if there's an origin story and stuff behind it, like someone will come transactionally buy something from you, but then the email sequences and everything else you're doing afterwards, if it's like my immediate goal would be like, how do I connect with this person as quick as possible? So now that everything that we have, they want to come back and keep buying from us versus just looking, Googling and searching and trying to find the next thing. Because the second sell is the key. The second sell, there's no acquisition cost, right?
Yes.
So it's like if I can do that through like this expert secrets concept and building a personality and like building a brand and bringing people in, then it's like, then what's cool is that like the first sell you can lose money because the second and third and fourth sell. And right now we lose, every time we bring a new member in, we lose $100 to $150. But it's okay because like I know these people, because we're building a brand and a persona, all these kind of things, like it's okay because they're going to keep buying from us.
They're going to stick and they're going to keep buying. Yeah. And the really smart e-commerce merchants we're talking to are thinking the same way. They're thinking about building a community, whether that's around outdoor cooking or yoga or, CrossFit equipment and stuff like that. And so, getting this idea of I'm going to build this audience that I can sell to again and again. That's when you build a business. When you're just selling a product on Amazon or just selling a product on your store, not as sustainable. It's not as sellable later, if you want to get out of the business. So just so many benefits to building a movement or building a real brand. What advice, Russell, would you give to someone who's getting started? So maybe it's someone out there and they're saying, okay, I'm beginning to see the potential here, but all I'm doing now is transactional. Where would I start in building this persona or building, this brand, finding my voice, that type of thing?
Yeah. So I'll just kind of share with you. So Trey, he's the one that, Trey Llewellyn, I don't know if you know Trey or not, but he's one in the other room that's our number one seller in ClickFunnels. So he's kind of the marketing dude, and his brother is into he was a police officer. So they decided they were going to start this e-commerce company selling guns and gun discounts and stuff like that that's kind of their brand, like guns and things associated with guns and gun targets and gun oil and all that kind of stuff. And so initially it was like an e-commerce thing, and again it was very transactional. It was a race to the bottom. Like they could try to beat people on pricing and things like that. And it wasn't very profitable and didn't grow. And so then that's when they kind of learned about this whole funnel thing. And for them, it was interesting because you look like typical e-commerce. You come to a page and then you're filling up your cart and then you go and you try to buy this thing. And Trey was like, look, I'm going to what's the sexiest thing that someone in my market would want? And so the initial one that he did was gun targets. Like people want gun targets, and gun targets are 10 cents a piece. So we started to create this funnel where it's like, hey, get free gun targets. You just pay $3 shipping handling, we'll ship you out 10 gun targets. And push up that on Facebook and start blowing up. People start getting the gun targets, but then you'd upsell hey, you got 10 targets. How would you like 50 for an extra $10? I'll give you 50 instead of 10. And then after that, then it's like, okay, we have this gun membership site. And so they weave. It's really interesting watching. They weave the e-commerce products to bring people in with info products to get them to stick. So they created a gun membership site, and it's basically a community where people can come in and they talk about guns, they hang out, they share all this stuff. And then the big core of the membership side is because they're e-commerce, they know how to buy stuff at cost, is they have this wholesale club where basically people pay them, I don't know, it's $20, $30 a month to be able to buy all their gun equipment at wholesale. And so because of that, people come in and they don't leave because it's it's $20 a month, and now I can get my guns and I save $300 every time I buy a gun. I save this much on ammo and all these kind of things. And so he builds this huge community. So now the e-commerce stuff is just about getting people in, and they actually make $0 in the e-commerce stuff, but they build up this membership platform with 30 or 40,000 members paying $20 or $30 a month, and this huge community, and people stick because they're in this community. They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave their friends and all these people that they have now. So I come back looking how do you blend these two worlds together? And Trey's the one that we figured out in 6 weeks made $20 million because it was you're tying these two things together. And I think there's a sweet spot between those two that if you start looking at that, looking at some people that are doing it, when you find that mesh, that's where the magic happens. I think it's a blend of e-com with information, and that those two things together become amazingly profitable and really, really exciting and easy to scale.
Yeah, and that's perfect because that community, is very passionate about guns, and you can kind of get an idea of what that community values, and it's that's a group that's very likely to congregate together, almost like golfers, when someone gets into golf and they're buying all the equipment and the gear and the training and the videos. And they're rabid consumers of golf related stuff. It's very similar in the gun community as well. So that I love that. I love that story. That's fantastic. Okay. So awesome stuff so far. What I think we should do, Russell, is let's maybe step back just a little bit. For anyone anyone listening who may be a little bit fuzzy as to what a funnel is or what this looks like, or maybe they have a vague idea, can you just talk about that? What is a funnel and what makes for a really good funnel?
Yeah, so it's funny because I think funnel is this new cool thing, but if you think about the reality is that everyone has a funnel, just a lot of people have really bad funnels. Right. And I look at it initially offline, because that's where business all started, right? And offline there are funnels, and again, some people's are bad, some people's are really good. One example I always kind of share is if you look at GNC, which is I love supplements. That's one of my favorite stores, and so I look at their funnel, right? So I might get a coupon in the mail that's hey, get 20% off on GNC for Gold Card Day. And I'm oh, cool. So then I go into the store, right? And I walk in, and then the first thing that always happens, and this is one reason why I don't go to GNC every day, but I probably would if they didn't do this. But as soon as you walk in, someone always runs up to the front hey, what can we help you with? And it's always super weird. And you're oh, nothing. I'm just looking. And okay, cool. And then they walk away. And then it's you just feel awkward, you want to leave.
Right.
And that's like their funnel. And someone comes in and it's like a bad funnel, right? And then you walk around and then you feel awkward and then they're always kind of staring at you and then you leave. So that's like an example of a bad funnel. Like a good funnel, if I was owner of GNC, I would like, how do I fix this process? So I saw the ad, someone comes in, instead of like pouncing on him and asking him how I can help, I would come in and be like, hey, welcome to GNC. Like right now, power bars are 2 for $1. And in fact, here's a free sample of one. Let me know if you want anything else and I'll be just kind of hanging out. And then I would leave and then someone's like, cool, I got a free power bar. Like, oh, this is awesome. And then I'd feel comfortable like doing some stuff and they come and ask him and it would change the process, right? And then let's say I found some protein and then the guy would come and say, hey, you like the protein? I'll come over here because you probably need a shaker bottle. Also, if you take these pills with your protein, it's more likely to like digest in your body. You're going to feel better. And by the way, we have Gold Card Tuesday, which you get 20% off sign up for Gold Card today for an extra $100. I'd be like, oh, cool. And I'd buy all those other things. And I would actually leave with a better experience and I would spend a lot more money with the company because like I had this cool chance to they coached me through like what I actually needed to get the best result with their products. And so that's like an offline funnel, right? And so the internet's kind of the same thing. Like a lot of people, especially in ecom place, right? They have a store with a bunch of products and someone comes and you see a whole bunch of products, you look around and then you leave and it's unfortunate. Whereas like a good funnel, like I'll just use, I think we talked about Trey's funnel earlier, his flashlight funnel. Like somebody comes in and they buy these cool flashlights that are amazing. So someone buys the flashlight and after they buy it, then it's like, hey, would you like an extra battery for the flashlight for an extra $12? And they're like, oh, that's actually a great idea because I don't want to lose this one. Cool, I'll buy a backup battery. And he's like, oh, by the way, would you like a kit that you can actually hold this in and whatever, or do you want a second flashlight for a discount, or do you want rush shipping? And like he takes them through a process that kind of offers all the other things that are going to help make this experience better for the. And you do it that way, it's like you lead with the best thing you have to get something most excited, most likely to buy, and then you're able to offer them all the other products and services to help make the experience better for them. And not everyone's going to take all of them, but a percentage of people will take a bunch of them, and it increases how much money you make per customer, which increases how much you can spend to acquire a customer. And that's kind of what a funnel is.
I love that. That's a fantastic explanation. And it really is about kind of helping someone take the next step and making them feel comfortable and providing the proper motivation for them to take the next step. And I think that's kind of what the folks at GMC and as you were telling that story, GNC, I think I may have said that wrong, but as you're telling that story, it made me think of, going to a car dealership, and I avoid those like the plague. Fortunately, I've got a friend that sells cars, so I just go to him. But you walk on the lot and you just feel like you're a gazelle in the Serengeti, and at any minute, like this lion is going to grab you and eat you. And so, they don't do a very good job of making you feel welcome. One quick plug that I want to make for one of my favorite books, and I don't know if you've heard of it, Russell, or not, but it's called Why We Buy by Paco Underhill. You ever heard of that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it's all about, for anyone that's not checked it out, it's all about the in-store experience. And so it's mainly in-store and not e-commerce, but it still applies. And he talks about having like this safe landing zone where when someone comes in, they need to get their bearings, they need to be comfortable. So like give them a second before you pounce on them. Anyway, phenomenal book. But really, I love the way you frame that you want to give them the most compelling thing first. And you also want to just take them through this process so that they can say yes easily to the first thing. And then hopefully they'll say yes to the subsequent things as well. So what are some other mistakes that you see? Because I know, you're like the funnel master, man, and you're funnel hacking and teaching people all the time. What are some of the most common funnel mistakes that you see people making?
I think one of the biggest ones that people do is they hide their best thing for some reason. They're like, I'm gonna have a low ticket product, bring someone in, and they have all these things, and it's like they're blocking their best product. I had some guys who they went through a seminar that one of our mutual friends put on, and it was good, but they taught like, here's the process every funnel needs to follow. So they follow it, right? And they're like, here's my lead magnet, here's my tripwire, then here's the thing I actually want to sell. And it was like 3 things deep. And they couldn't make this thing profitable. And I was like, well, the reason why is the best thing you have, like someone's got to buy 2 things before you even show it to them. Like find the best, like the best thing you have should be the front of the funnel. Like that's your best shot at getting a customer and getting them into your world, right? That's the best thing. And so like not hiding those kind of things, which is for some reason people think that's the goal, is to hide those kind of things. Where I like to lead with that. I was looking like, what's the most important thing? Because like I want everybody to buy the most important things. I lead with that. And then the other things are things to help amplify that experience. But the main things up front. Another thing is that people are just really shy or really bad at selling. You look at a good example is I joked in some of our videos as we were doing our book launch about this, how, I have a free book. We put the free book. You go to the landing page. There's a really good video that I spent a lot on selling the book. That's a free book. And then I have like 20 pages of video testimonial stories from people that have used the book and applied it and gotten results in tons of different industries. And like I spent more time selling a free book on that page than most people do selling a $1,000 product. And it's like, you have to, even if it's free, you still have to sell the crap out of it. And so it's like, they don't sell it. They're like, oh, here's this free thing, or here's this, whatever. And they think that a headline is going to change their business. It's like, no, you still have to sell things, even if they're free. And just realizing that. And so it's important to become good at selling. In the e-commerce world, it's funny. I kind of went on a Seinfeld binge recently just because.
Oh, dude, I love that show. That's just my favorite. I don't think there'll ever be a show that good. I never get tired of it. I could watch it all the time. So anyway. Yeah,
it was funny because we moved houses and it's like our DVR got reset and I forgot. And then probably like 3 months ago, I was like trying to auto record things on TiVo that were like, it's my favorite shows. I found Seinfeld. I clicked on a button and then like a week ago I went and there's like, I don't know, 50 episodes that are all stuck on my thing. I'm like, oh yeah. So I just started watching them. And like one of my favorite set of episodes, like a season or two about this, is like where Lane gets a job at the J. Peterman catalog.
Yes,
right?
Yes, J. Peterman.
And it makes me laugh because I think most people think it's like a joke, but there's actually, J. Peterman's a real dude, real story.
It's a real catalog, yeah, the J. Peterman catalog.
Yeah, and you look at the catalog, like when it was in its heyday, right? Like the reason why their whole joke is they have a Lane like writing the copy for these things, and it's like he's not saying here's a brown hat. It's like the brown hat that we got at the safari in the jungles when we met the Aborigine Indian. Like they tell these huge elaborate stories because that's how J. Peterman did it, and he wrote really really good copy in all these things, and that's why that company blew up and became what it was because they had really good copy to sell these things. I go to people's Amazon listings and it's like, here's a picture of the product and like 3 bullet points. And that's how they're trying to sell their thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? In fact, there's a guy in my inner circle. He's a really good copywriter. He only writes, he used to be retired because he got tired of doing it. He writes Amazon listings and he charges people $15,000 plus percentage of sales to write like the paragraph Amazon listing.
Wow.
And people pay him that because he does that. And they take these campaigns, these sites that are like, making, I don't know, a couple $1,000 and he rewrites the paragraph of copy and they go to like $3 or $4 million a year, like just from the copy. And so it's like that's what, especially in the e-commerce world, I don't think people understand well enough is copy. Like I would go back to eBay and buy a bunch of, in fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go buy a bunch of the old J. Peterman catalogs just to see how they sold these cool things. Like that's the key back then. It's still the key today. And what's interesting, my buddy in their circle that used to charge $15,000 to write, the description for Amazon for people plus percentage. He got so tired because so many people paying him for it. He actually ended up writing a book about it, like how to do it. And then he sells the book for $1,000 for just a book.
Wow.
And people are buying like crazy because of that. And so it's like, that is like the most powerful, like finding the product, getting it from China, whatever, all those things are like good. Like if you can get good at the copy, like actually selling the thing on the pages, like that's the real secret. That's the difference between, $1 million and a $10 million company is the copy on the pages.
Yeah, I don't know if you still can. I would assume so. But a couple years ago, it's probably been 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe more. I don't know. But I used to get the J. Peterman catalog just because I wanted to study the copy and pass it around. And back when I was doing a mastermind, I would share that. But yeah, it's like, the Himalayan boots and it's telling the story of you trekking with a Sherpa through the snow. And it's fantastic. But it's so true that getting the right copy that's compelling and that sucks you in and tells you a story and makes you feel something about the product is really important. And you mentioned the Amazon listing. The other thing that we see a lot is that people will just write their Amazon listing just for search, so just for SEO benefit. And arguably that's really important, getting your Amazon listing to rank well, that's going to be the primary driver of traffic. But to do that at the expense of making it also sell is a mistake. And so, yeah, I'm really glad you pointed that out. So leading.
Just real quick, I actually found a whole bunch of old J. Peterman catalogs on eBay. I'm buying as we speak. So okay. There you go.
Awesome. And send me a picture of it. I'll post it on the show notes. That's tremendous. So looking at, leading with the most compelling benefit, I don't know if you like the book, Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath, but they talk about the concept of burying the lead. So it's where the most compelling part of the story you bury, 6 paragraphs down instead of making that the lead of the story. And I see that a lot too, where people do that for their product. They bury the lead for the product, and then not using good sales tactics. Anything else that other mistakes or things you might point out where maybe people stop short or fail in their funnel creation?
I think the biggest one, and I think people get into funnels, they start geeking out on it, and then they make these funnels that are so insanely complex and confusing. And if you look at people always will join my coaching programs and be like, check this out, Russell, here's my funnel diagram. And they show me this thing. It's got 8 million steps. And
step 57 is this. And
yeah, I looked at it, I was like, what? I'm like, have you tested it yet? They're like, no, I'm just finishing building it all out. I'm like, dude, that's horrible. Because if you look at all my funnels, they're simple. There's 5 or 6 steps and that's it. Because the biggest thing about funnels, the reason why I love them is I build a funnel and I do my best possible guess. And then I'll go to Facebook or Google, whatever I'm going to buy ads, and I'll spend $1,000 and I want the traffic to go through this thing. And I just stop and I wait and I watch. When $1,000 in ad spend's gone, I look at it. I'm like, okay, what just happened here? I'm like, okay, page 1. What was conversion on page 1? Okay, let's say it's an opt-in page. We got 38% conversion. I'm like, sweet, that was awesome. Page 2, it's like, okay, that's where we sold, our front end thing at $27, and it was, 7% conversion. Okay, that was pretty good. And our upsell was this, and it was 1% conversion. And then so you see all the things. You're like, okay, well, first page was good, second page was good, but the upsell conversion was really, really low. And that's why our campaign did. You just look at it, you're like, okay, our campaign didn't work. 3 of the 5 pages were really good. These 2 didn't convert. So then you come back and you make some tweaks and changes, try to make it better. And I'll go and I'll spend another $1,000. I'll see what happens. And usually if I did it 2 or 3 times, by the 3rd time, I will have a funnel that we call the break-even funnel, where we're break-even, we're getting customers for free, or it'll be profitable. And either of those for me is a huge win. If we're break-even, I'm celebrating because we're getting free customers. If it's profitable, then we're going crazy. And then we can go and we can start scaling and buying ads and growing things really, really rapidly. But when you have something that's got 8,500 steps in it, you buy ads and it goes through and you're like, what broke? You're like, I don't know. There's so many variations and options and things. And this guy clicked on email, the link on email 6, not email 3, that is taking this file. You don't know what to fix. It's impossible. And so it becomes super hard. So I make my funnels really simple, 5 or 6 steps, drive traffic, and then just look at the results and then make some tweaks and then do it again, make some results, tweaks. You do it 2 or 3 times and all of a sudden it'll hit. And then you have this thing that you can scale. For us in our company, every time we have a funnel, if we have a break-even funnel, it means we've added an extra $1 million a year to our business. That's our metric. Boom, it's a break-even, made at least $1 million a year. We get a funnel that's profitable. It can be 3, 5, 10. It's huge. And so we'll make those tweaks 3 or 4 times. As soon as we get one that's break-even or profitable, then we start celebrating, and then we go out and start buying tons of ads to that thing. And that's kind of the game that we play. And it's really simple. The nice thing about ClickFunnels is you can build a funnel in a couple hours. So build a funnel, best guess, do our best thing we can, try it, and then come back, spend 2 hours tweaking again, try it again. And usually within a couple of weeks we got it, and then it's off to the races.
That's awesome. I love it. What traffic sources are you most excited about now? I know you guys use a lot of channels, and we were just talking prior to recording. You guys are trying to expand into every conceivable channel, which I love. But what traffic sources are you most excited about right now?
Yeah, it's interesting because Facebook is still probably the biggest channel for us. But I just have this feeling, I've been around this game long enough to know that I remember when Google was our whole life was built on Google. I remember Zuckerberg or Larry and Sergey changing the algorithms and most of the people I was in business with at the time are no longer in business. And so I feel like Zuckerberg, he still loves us all right now, but I feel like things are going to change. And so I'm aware of that. I've had gone through those ups and downs a couple of times with other networks. And so we're trying to diversify right now a lot. And interesting enough, I think the one that I'm most excited about personally is YouTube, because I don't think many people have kind of figured it out. And there's these weird intricacies and there's differences that are there. But the interesting thing is for me, the first 10 plus years of my business was all focused on email, building lists. I'm still a huge believer in that. All my traffic is being used to build lists, right? And then we can then sell people products. But the interesting
creating media that you own. I love the way you've always framed that. That list is something that's an asset that you own.
Yeah.
Rather than media you have to pay for over and over again.
Yeah. Now the one interesting thing about email that I just had this realization probably 3 weeks ago is I send an email and it goes from his inbox and then it dies there, right? What's interesting is like in YouTube right now is we create, and we have a big budget right now we're putting into this. We'll create a video, we'll post that on YouTube, and then I'll send an email to my list. My email will go, we'll get 5,000 or 6,000 clicks to this video, people will watch it. But then because of like the surge in people seeing it, then YouTube will bless you because it's like, oh, people like this video, and they'll start like showing it in people's searches, and they'll start showing it on the sidebars, and then we can buy ads to it. But what's cool is like I create a really good video that's content plus an ad, and we put it out there. And right now we're doing 3 or 4 a week, and we started this a couple weeks ago. And right now, like the first set of videos, the ones I think 3 weeks ago have like 28,000 views, and every day is like there's 1,000 new views. It's like growing and growing and growing. Like it keeps growing. And I think that those videos, if I stay consistent with this next 12 months, each of them will have 1 million views or more. Whereas email, if I send an email, it hits an inbox, and then within 3 or 4 days, it's dead, it's gone, right? It's buried, and it doesn't keep growing. Where now it's like we create these really cool assets, and then they hit this thing in YouTube. And if you focus like emails and other stuff to like kind of start a spark in a video, that video will go on and it'll live forever. And that's what really gets me excited now is creating these really cool assets and spending the time and the energy to make really good things that aren't just like, and I think that's almost like the downside of Facebook Live. Like I love Facebook Lives, but everybody clicking play on their video every 5 minutes, and there's like so many of them that they kind of die as well, it feels like.
Yeah, limited shelf life on Facebook Live for sure, and especially for email. And
I'm a big fan of Facebook Live. Like during our book launch, we got 3 million views of Facebook Live. Like it was amazing. But yeah, the shelf life, that's the best way to say it. Whereas I feel like YouTube there's a lot. If you create a good video, good asset, like the shelf life of it is really, really long, and it just keeps serving you over and over and over again for a long time.
Love it. And are you guys using TrueView? You talked about ads. Are you using TrueView ads on YouTube? Are you primarily doing display ads on YouTube, or how are you driving traffic to your YouTube videos?
You know what? Your guys' team is actually helping us a lot with that. So you would probably know as well, if not better than me, to be completely honest. My job on the team is to create the really good videos, and I post them. And then John on my team, as you know, John, he kind of runs the traffic, and he's actually working with Chris, some guys on your team, to do a lot of that. We've never been good at the paid side of Google or YouTube, so we're actually having your guys' help on that. So I'm not exactly positive. I know they are the ones amplifying it though for us, for sure.
Right. And it is. And so TrueView, the thing I love about TrueView, and we're using this for e-commerce clients as well, where you can run an ad. It can be very targeted based on either placements. So maybe you're targeting specific videos that you want your ad to run with, or maybe you're just targeting people based on the keywords they're searching on in YouTube. I record a whole show on shoppable TrueView, so I don't remember what episode it was. People can go back and listen. But beautiful thing there is you're only charged if someone watches the full 30 seconds of a video, or at least 30 seconds, or the whole video, whichever comes first. And so you're only paying for someone that's engaged, and you can be very targeted in what you're doing. And so I'm right there with you. YouTube is huge. We actually saw this. I'm going to be sharing this at Internet Retailer, IRCE, depending on when this show airs. I'm not sure when this will air, but June 6th through the 10th, I'll be in Chicago at IRCE speaking there and sharing a story about a client of ours. They sell iPhone cases and screen protectors and things. So they ran this big YouTube TrueView campaign. And what was interesting is that the campaign itself didn't drive many conversions. However, after they ran it, like for the next, it took about a month, but after they ran it, their brand campaign started exploding. So we made no changes to the brand campaigns. No change in terms of budget, no change in terms of bids, nothing. And they just started exploding. One went up like 46% in conversions. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do with YouTube and with video, which is a very, very powerful platform. So, okay, super cool. Any tips you would give on Facebook Live? I've had several people now tell me that I'm a fool for not using Facebook Live more. But any tips you would share on Facebook Live? Because I'm super interested in that.
Yeah, so I love Facebook Live, and we're doing a lot of it just because it's working so good. A couple interesting things. One of them is that we're seeing like almost a 9 times increase in click-through rate if you have a meme video, which means like the headline on top and whatever. And obviously you can't do a meme video on Facebook Live. So what we're doing is we're pre-recording videos, and our video editor will meme them. So we put a headline up top, and then like sometimes a transcription down below, and like a black bars, and the video in the middle. And then we'll use there's free software called OBS that you can take a video and stream it through Facebook Live into your thing. And those, like I said, those meme videos can get 900 times more click-through rate than a typical video for us. And that's like one thing that's been huge for us. So we're pre-recording our Facebook Lives now, memeing them and putting them up, and it's been crazy.
Why do you think that is? Is that because, videos autoplay now without sound, and so having the text there, the meme there is what draws people in, you think?
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's old school direct response, right? Like, why do people read an article in a magazine? Because the headline, right? There's no in a video. So you see some stuff, and you're like, the person's engaging enough or interesting enough looking that you'll click on it. But if that's all you have, and you have the little tiny text up above, but it's small. Where you have a big headline, like, boom, whatever that is, then it pops out. And I'm sure eventually more and more people will keep doing it, and it will become less effective. But there's just a headline they're not going away. You know what I mean? Like it's old school direct response marketing that we're just bringing back to this digital age that works.
That's awesome. Well, hey, kind of as we wrap up, we're kind of up against time. Just a quick plug for the book, and I want you to share where people can find it. And it's free and it's amazing. And someone needs to. If someone is listening and they're thinking, okay, I need to learn funnels and dive in a little bit, go learn from the master. Go check out Russell's book funnel, which I will say, by the way, I know I mentioned this to you before, but your remarketing ads on Facebook, because I visited the page before we started recording and then left, and then I was on Facebook, and your remarketing ad is just brilliant. Talking about how you left without getting the book, and it's got these little Polaroid pictures. It's hard for me to explain without seeing, but one of the best remarketing ads ever. Which, by the way, is that working pretty well? That remarketing ad?
In fact, it's so good. John was showing me yesterday. We've had like 150, 160 people share our remarketing ad, which is like so amazing. That's just proof that it's awesome.
Yeah, that's like the golden. That's like a golden ticket. Something that never happens. You create an ad that people like so much they're sharing. That's awesome. But any other just little tidbits or plugs you'd like to give for the book, and then where can people go get their copy?
Yeah, so you can get your copy at expertsecrets.com. And, the book is, I had fear calling it Expert Secrets because I know some people are like, well, I'm not an expert or whatever, right? Or I don't want to be an expert. I'm an e-commerce. So I had fear calling it that. But the reality is it's the key. It's teaching you guys how to tell stories the right way, how to build a following, how to get people to buy from you over and over and over again. All these essential elements if you layer that on top of any kind of business, especially e-commerce businesses, it will 2, 3, 4, 5x your business without you doing more of anything else. No more ad dollars, no more products, no more SKUs, no more anything like that. It's just it's building a culture, it's communication, it's copy, it's all those kind of things. And when you understand those pieces and plug it in, like I said, our number one seller in ClickFunnels right now is an ecom dude selling flashlights, and you think that's such a weird thing. And he was here in Boise for the last 3 days. We had a big, huge event here teaching the concepts of Expert Secrets book. And it's like, why is a dude selling, $20 million in the last 6 weeks of flashlights? Why is he learning this Expert Secrets stuff? It's like, because it's the key. That's why he's selling $20 million in flashlights, not because it's a flashlight, not because he found the best deal in China, right? He understands these other pieces that might not make sense to you until you start reading the book. And then when you see, you're like, oh, wow, I see how this can integrate into my business. I see how these pieces all work. And I always tell people, I have 2 goals for this book. And number one is that it'll help you to change your life, because it'll help you to see how you can get your message and what you do out to more people. But number 2 is it gives you the ability to change other people's lives, which is why we get into business anyway, right? It's not about us. We make money from the company, from the stuff we're doing. That's cool. But the point of business is to get products and services in people's hands to help change their life. And it'll give you the ability to change more people's lives. And that's why I wrote it, why I spent so much time and energy. And I hope you guys all love it, and that you guys apply it to ecom stuff and see the big lifts, because it'll happen if you do it.
It's fantastic. And I'll link to it in the show notes as well for people to check out. But expertsecrets.com, go and get a copy. And people are looking for experts. It's just the way it is. Whether you're getting your garage door fixed like we did the other day, or looking to enhance your wardrobe, we're looking for experts. We want them and need them. And I love the fact, and I pay attention to what you guys are doing. You're giving back. You're doing altruistic efforts and building schools in Kenya and some awesome stuff like that. And so being able to make a difference through business as well is a ton of fun and really what I think it's all about. And then what about ClickFunnels? So if someone is saying, hey man, I want to dig into funnels a little bit more, where should they go to learn more about ClickFunnels?
Yeah, the best place is just to go get an account. You have a free 14-day trial. Go to clickfunnels.com, and when you go in there, there's a 12-minute video you watch when you first sign up that'll show you how to use ClickFunnels. If you watch the 12-minute video, I send you out a free T-shirt on my dime, and so you get a cool Funnel Hacker T-shirt. And then just go play with it. Just go try it out. And we have a Facebook community with over 60,000 entrepreneurs, and come in there and be like, who's got ecom funnels? What you guys are doing? And they're super sharing and giving, and people can help you out and show you what to do and what they're doing, and then just try it. ClickFunnels gives you the ability as the entrepreneur to be able to go in there and actually create your funnels and your websites. You don't have to have a tech team or graphic designers, web designers. You can do it by yourself, which is the magic of it. And so I think just jump in there and do it and see how much fun it is.
Awesome. Sounds good. Russell Brunson. Crushed it, man. Totally awesome. Really appreciate you hopping on, and we'll have to do this again sometime. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very good. And as always, guys, let us know what you'd like to hear more of. Give us some ideas for other guests or other topics you want us to dive into. As always, we'd love to have your review on iTunes. And until next time, thank you for tuning in.